Hi, my name is Robin Miller, and I'm Senior Corporate and Tax Counsel at Pro Bono Partnership of Atlanta. I spoke with most of you during our legal checkup preparatory call the other day. By now, you've had your legal checkup team meeting where you met with 3 to 4 attorneys and spent a few hours discussing your potential legal needs. For those of you who are new to Pro Bono Partnership of Atlanta, I just want to give you a quick reminder that we have 5 attorneys on staff, and each of us acts as outside general counsel to a group of our clients. Once this process is finished, this legal checkup process, you're going to go back to working primarily with your PBPA attorney. And of course, with the myriad of our volunteer attorneys that we have, for which we are so grateful. But to complete this legal checkup process, you may continue to work with me. Once you're a client of ours, you're really always a client. So while we went through this process in the last few days of identifying all these legal issues for you, others may come up. And so that's one of the reasons you have your PBPA attorney. Not only will they help you through the matters we've identified through the checkup, but any other legal issues that come up, you can simply reach out to your Pro Bono Partnership of Atlanta attorney who will be able to assist you moving forward. All right, so you've had your client meeting at the checkup, and hopefully it went really well. The goal of that meeting is to identify those legal issues that you might not identify on your own. They might not be obvious. It's one of those you don't know what you don't know. I liken it to bringing your car in for that 60,000 mile service. They perform this diagnostic and they identify things that you didn't know were a concern. So our goal is to identify those things and then over time help you to resolve them, to make you a stronger organization. So what's going to happen next? Well, after your team meeting ended, you left the building, and your legal team, though, continued to meet. And they put together a list of issues that they identified from that meeting. Your attorney team then emailed me all the notes that they took using all of their questionnaires, every bit of notes, as well as this list that they put together. And using my 30 years of experience working with tax-exempt organizations, I'm going to review all those documents and create my own list of issues that should be identified to be addressed by you. Now, that list won't be final at that point because I'm just going off the notes. So what I am going to do is each of you had a note taker assigned to your meeting room. And so I'm going to meet with that note taker to better understand what happened in your meetings and to review the list of issues, to make sure I get any questions that I have, which I almost always have questions, answered to the extent possible, and to get a better feel for what happened in your meeting. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in each of these meeting rooms, but that's just not possible. So my note taker meetings help me to better understand what happened. Then, once we finish that part of the process, once I've had these note taker meetings, I will send an email to each one of you with your updated list of potential matters. Now, it won't be final at this point, but you will get that. And that is in preparation for our follow-up calls, which Randy is also our client manager, who you all know, has already scheduled. These follow-up calls will be either with me or if you're Justine's client, with Justine Cowan. If you're Lori or Sarisha's client, they will likely join the call with me and participate. These calls for me will take place via Zoom. So you're going to be on the lookout for this email from me, and it may arrive just before your Zoom call with me. But there's not a whole lot you have to do with that email other than take a look at it. But the email will contain that draft list of matters that we've put together. So let's talk for a minute about the Zoom meeting. So this follow-up Zoom meeting is super important, and we really need you to be present. So I need you to be at your computer and not on Zoom on your phone, but at your computer and fully engaged, not driving, not in other meetings, no distractions, and you have to have good internet service. And this is really critical because this is the summation of this entire process where we're trying to really gather and identify all the legal issues that we need to help you address. So you're going to get this email from me just prior to the Zoom call. Take a few minutes to review the email. The email will have that tentative list of issues. I want you to look at the list. There's no need to email me back. I don't need to see revisions. I don't need to hear about your priorities. We're going to do all of that during our Zoom meeting. I just want you to have it a few minutes ahead, or it may even be a day or two ahead, but a little bit ahead so that you can think through, oh, these were the things that were identified, and what are the priorities that we have for getting these done? And every organization has different priorities. You don't need to send me those priorities, because when we get on our Zoom call, we're going to do it together. I'm going to put that list right up on the screen and we're going to walk through it together. Another good thing to do prior to that Zoom call is ask your board member who participated in the meeting what their prioritization is. That will help also from a perspective of the board as to what they see as important to get done from a legal perspective for your organization. Now, please do understand that this list is not going to be perfect. It's not going to even be close to perfect, because this is a bit of a game of telephone. I've gathered information. I wasn't in the room. I've read through the information. I've talked to the note taker, but I may have some things completely wrong. So just bear with us as we walk through this process together. In addition, you may find some items on your list that maybe you all didn't really talk much about. And that might be because with my years of experience, someone commented on one of the questionnaires about something, and I said, oh, that's an issue. Maybe we need to talk about that further. And there may be some things that everyone identified that I say, yeah, no, I don't think we really need to address that. So you'll see a little bit of change in what you might think happened in that meeting. But at the end of the day, we need your input as well as the lawyer's input to come to a really good list. So hopefully by the end of going through this entire process, we'll be able to address those issues that you do have and that you need addressed. So what is this list of issues going to consist of? Well, most organizations have between 7 and 11 legal issues or matters to address. And that's just the average. One client usually has 4, and that's usually the client that reaches out to us on a regular ongoing basis, only has one main program, and is pretty consistent. One of you will have 20, and that organization oftentimes has either lots of contracts, lots of employees, or multiple different programs requiring some additional legal assistance. So it's not a reflection on how well you're doing, how many legal issues you have. It'll overwhelm you to work on all these projects at once. So we are going to ask that we prioritize them, which I've talked about a little bit already. We will only do a few at a time. And because projects sometimes take longer to get placed or longer to get completed, we're only going to prioritize the first 5 or 6 projects. And we're going to prioritize them out for about 6 or 8 months. I'll always have one client that'll push really hard to do more, and I will push really hard back, because it's really, really difficult to do more than that. And it's a recipe for failure. So we really, really try to limit it. In addition, we only have so many volunteers, and we need to spread out the wealth. So please don't ask to do all the matters in the first 3 months after the checkup. All right, after the first 6 months after your checkup, your PBPA attorney will reach back out to you, look at where you are in completing your projects, and then plan the rest of them, or at least another chunk of them to get completed. So during our call, each of you has a 1-hour time slot. You met with your attorney group for 2 hours. So that means we really can't spend time going over everything you discussed in your client meeting. We don't have that much time. We only have an hour, half the time. So we need to be brief, we need to be concise, and we really need to focus on getting this list finalized and prioritized. So we're not going to go into the details of each of these matters, I just want to make sure, is this a matter? Am I describing it right? What other, do I need a complex information? If you're doing a contract, who would be signing that contract, for instance, and any other details, or maybe some questions that I have. We need to get those answered. But once we get to that point, we don't need to know any more details. Then once we get all of that set up, then we're going to prioritize them, first, second, third, and we're going to do it by month. So we'll go, in September, we're going to start this matter. In October, we're going to start this matter. And when I say start, I mean put it out on our volunteer opportunities listing. So all of these projects will go through our normal processes, which we explained in our preparatory call. So that's how we will proceed. Many of you will have a project that will go out on our next volunteer opportunities listing, which usually is at the beginning of the next month. But if you have current ongoing matters, then we may hold off and we may adjust the schedule based on those current ongoing projects that you have. Because like I said, too many projects is a recipe for disaster. So once we have our call, I will send you the final list, and I will also, of course, send it to your PBPA attorney. And from there on, you will work directly with your PBPA attorney to get those projects completed. If you work with Justine, she will do the same for her clients. She will have that final meeting with you, and then of course, you're her client, so she will work with you to get those projects completed with the help of volunteer attorneys. A couple other quick notes. Please be sure to send a thank you note to your legal attorney team. Randy will provide you, Zelser, our client manager, will provide you with the information to send them such notes. They love receiving thank you notes. We also love to get a copy, so if you can scan and send us a copy of them, that would be wonderful. And then there's one more really important thing I need to discuss. Please don't ask our attorneys or volunteers for a donation. They're donating their time, and they're donating a lot of time to participate in this legal checkup, and we really appreciate that. Please also don't ask them to join your board of directors. If you work with a volunteer who's completely engaged and keeps asking and keeps getting involved in your organization, and they want to get involved and be on the board, that's fine. But don't, out of the blue, ask one of our volunteers to be a board member. Well, with that, my last comment is, if you have any questions about anything in this video, please reach out to Randy Zelser, our client manager. We look forward to continuing the legal checkup process with you and finalizing it. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.